everyone, and welcome to Spirit Basics, the show for the beginner and the avid connoisseur of fine spirits. I'm Jennifer Allan.
And I'm Stephen Olson, and today's show is about soju, or you may have heard it called shoshu. Soju is a distilled spirit from the Far East, usually Korea, sometimes Japan. It can be made from virtually anything: rice, barley, sweet potatoes, not our yams, but a sweeter potato, tapioca even. So, like vodka, it's basically a neutral spirit, because it can be made anywhere from anything. Although, as I said, it is typically a Korean beverage, to the extent that, like vodka is the national drink of Russia, soju is the national drink of Korea. Now, it probably originated around the 1300s, and although the Koreans drink a lot of it in a fairly base level, they also make some premium and super premium versions, but really the Japanese have taken this drink of the common man to incredibly new heights.
So does the word soju mean water of life like it does with so many other spirits?
It could. It's very close. We can trace it back probably to the Chinese. That's where it originated. And in Chinese, the Chinese symbol for water is su, S-U, and the Chinese symbol for fire is bul, B-U-L. So sul is actually water that boils without fire, meaning the fermentation process, that bubbling thing. Now, Ju, Ju, is the Chinese character for alcohol. Su, water, Ju, alcohol. Suju, soju, you see where it goes. So, sul, water that boiled without fire, becomes soju. We learned about this, actually, interestingly enough, this fermenting liquor. We learned about it by fermenting miso and soy, originally, foodstuffs.
Oh. Well, you had mentioned that soju is the drink of the common man. Does it have the same history as, say, grappa?
Well, as far as history, yes. As far as process, not even close. But yeah, I mean, originally it was drunk by everybody, but by poor people mostly, by the working class, if you will. It became a drink of the nobles. Originally, many years ago, as a drink of the nobles, but basically, recently, it's evolved into a premium spirit category, kind of like grappa, but even more recently than grappa. And as I said, even though Korea makes some real high-end, it's the Japanese that have taken it to a really high level. Interestingly enough, historically, people have been making soju at home, like a homebrew kind of thing, and in some cases, they made too much rice into soju, and we had a shortage in history a couple of times of rice to eat.
Wow. Well, for his own unique look at soju, we turn to our master mixologist, Dale Degroff.
Soju or Sochu, the Japanese version of this Korean favorite. Another formerly really obscure spirit, and it is a spirit, by the way. It's distilled from rice in the case of the Japanese one. You're going to see more and more of. My first encounter with soju was in a Korean barbecue restaurant in Midtown Manhattan. A friend of mine took me there, and I had the traditional service of the soju in the crockery pots with a wonderful cooling cucumber and lemon to counter the spicy food, and it was actually very, very good, served icy cold in these crockery containers that were themselves frozen in the freezer and held the chill of the soju, and it was just very cooling with this very spicy cuisine. Sochu I ran into again in London when I was working, and I went to a restaurant called Roka, which also was a barbecue Pacific Rim offering all kinds of wonderful food, including some Korean barbecue. And in the basement they had a bar that was called Sochu, and on one wall they had the most marvelous exhibit of antique soju distilling equipment and all the old barrels and everything. And on the other wall they had mahogany squares, and each square was a 2.5 gallon beautiful jar with a linen top and a bamboo straw tie, and in each one of these was Japanese sochu, each one infusing a different fruit, spice, or herb. And I talked to Tony Conigliaro, the young bartender who put the whole program together, which was just fascinating. And he told me how long the peeled grapes had to stay in the barrel and how long the cinnamon had to stay in. And then they would strain the liquid off, and they would put the liquid in these crockery vessels behind the bar. And Tony had designed all these marvelous, marvelous cocktails to go with each one of these infused sochu. It was an incredibly interesting program, and I think that kind of cocktail making, that cutting edge kind of exotic ingredient, you're going to be seeing more and more and more of. It's a window into the future of what cocktail making is going to be like. And I think it's incredibly exciting. I'm actually going to make for you, later in this show, one of Tony's wonderful drinks called the Noshino Martini. So, something to look forward to.
Up next, we'll do our best to demystify the process of making soju.
And our Spirit insiders, Morgen and Scott, learn even more about soju. That's when Spirit Basics returns. Welcome back to Spirit Basics. Right now we're going to talk about how soju is made. Now Stephen, can you tell us a little bit more about the ingredients used in soju? You said that it's made from rice. Is it the same kind of rice that they use to make sake?
Well, first of all, the rice that's used to make sake is a very special rice that's grown just for sake production, and most soju today might be made from those types of rices, but it evolves from the rice that we ate originally, okay? And there's a little bit of confusion about the origins, and I'm not sure exactly what's correct, but historically speaking, many people say that this soju evolved from distilling sake. But that being said, why would you make sake and then distill it? Because sake is very complicated. You'd make a basic rice beer. Remember, we said it has to be alcohol to be distilled. We have to have beer or wine, so you'd make a fermentable beer. Now, there is some truth, I think, to the theory that the soju evolved from the distillate used in making sake. And here's where you could draw a parallel to the grappa story, in that the common man could afford this distillate because it was less sought after than the sake itself, whereas the rich would drink the sake. And I just want to point out that just like all other spirits and the subsistence lifestyle, we're eating rice. So when we run out of rice, we're making this out of other products, and that's where the sweet potato, and again, not our yams, but just a sweeter tuber, if you will, that's where tapioca comes from, that's where some of the other things. The best sojus are oftentimes made from sweet potatoes today.
Now, do they make any liqueur with soju as the base?
Well, there are many great Asian liqueurs. However, soju itself, even though oftentimes it's flavored, this is very common practice, flowers, herbs, spices, fruits, the ones we purchase are usually not sweetened, so by our definition, they are not liqueurs. Interestingly enough, this is another parallel to vodka, that the large production sojus are usually made in continuous stills, but the handmade boutique ones are made in stills like nothing I've seen anywhere else in the world, that are completely unique to Asia, using products like ceramics and wood and even bamboo.
Well, for a deeper look on how soju is made, we turn to our Spirit Guide.
When we talk about soju, we're really talking about a huge category, in that soju is a word I could use to describe virtually any sort of distillate. In frankness, over history, virtually any alcoholic beverage that comes from that part of the Asian rim. It's like the word arak, which is a word you'll run into again in Asia, certainly in Southeastern Asia and Central Asia, which describes virtually any alcoholic beverage, but often has been described as a distillate made from sugarcane. But it was also a distillate made from raisins, from dates, from palm sap, from mare's milk in Mongolia, for crying out loud. So these two words you'll run into, and you have to bear in mind that they're very flexible in their meaning. Well, having said that, soju is, generally speaking, a single distillation product. It's come from all sorts of stills. You can find ceramic stills, you can find bamboo stills, you can find nice, clean, sleek stainless steel column stills. And you'll see all sorts of alcohol percentages in the bottles that you drink out of or the bottles that you buy. And you need to be very careful of which you're getting. It may be 20% alcohol. It may be 80 proof. And I would think that you would want to know the difference between the two. I think that's probably a good idea. So when it comes to soju, you need to be prepared to read closely what you're about to have and hopefully have one of the very clean, sleek styles of soju. I think you will.
Well, now that we've taken a look at the origins and the history and tried to unveil the mysteries of making soju, it's time for an inside look.
We turn to our Spirit insiders, Morgen and Scott, as they hit the road to learn more about soju.
Thanks, Stephen and Jennifer. We're down here at Zen 8 in Calgary to find out what this soju thing's all about and see if anyone's drinking it. I'm here with Hiro, the general manager at Zen 8. Hiro, can you tell me, is all soju the same or is there different kinds?
Oh, these are two different kinds in shochu in Japan. It's called korui and honkaku. And most of the people are drinking korui style because you can taste clear and smooth. Honkaku is sort of like a strong taste, like a vodka.
Is soju very popular in Japan? Do they drink it like vodka and gin?
Well, we got a big booming right after 2002, people start drinking shochu lots and lots and lots. Now we have 3,500 different kind of shochu in Japan. It's booming still. People are late 20 and early 30. The women drink a shochu most in Japan, not the guy drinking. The girls are drinking lots in shochu.
Okay, well, so I guess it's maybe a girl drink, but I'm a guy and we're gonna taste some right now, right?
Yeah. Let's try Moonlight, one of the best shochu.
It's got an interesting smell to it, I like it. Yeah, you'd probably want to have some food with that, wouldn't you?
If you're on the rock, it's hard, right? But if you make something plus, I can make a lime style shochu.
You know, it's very tasty actually. It's kind of similar to vodka, but at the same time, I think it's maybe even a little bit smoother.
Yeah, that's like a gin or a vodka and things.
We have some sochu, some lime juice, and soda.
Yeah, it's shochu. Here you go.
Okay, let's see what this is like. I like you made that comment, kind of like a vodka tonic or a gin and tonic, and it's exactly what it is. It's delicious.
The shochu is a friend of scotch, gin, vodka.
So you better be careful with the sochu because it's high in alcohol.
Exactly. You have to be careful.
It's not like the sake.
Sake is only average rate 15%. It's like a wine. Wine's 13, right? And sake is 15. This is a 25. So way different.
All right, Steve and Jennifer, back to you guys. I'm gonna stay here and have some sushi with my sochu.
You know, we've been drawing comparisons of soju to vodka, but unlike vodka, recently both the Korean and Japanese government have implemented regulations which may make it easier to import soju into both Canada and the United States.
Great. Well, up next, we continue our look into the spirit world with a lesson on how to drink soju and how to use it in your favorite cocktails. Don't go away.
Spirit Basics is brought to you in part by Willow Park Wines and Spirits.
Welcome back to Spirit Basics, the show for everyone who wants to learn more about the world's greatest cocktails. Time now to take a closer look at how to enjoy soju.
Now, Stephen, I know in many cultures they have deep-rooted traditions in the way that they eat and drink. Is soju as intricate a part of the culture in Asia?
Absolutely, particularly in Korea. I had the most wonderful opportunity. We opened an Asian restaurant in New York in the mid-90s, and it was actually one of the very early sake bars as well. And we had Korean owners and Korean-influenced Asian fusion food, and of course we had to have soju. And I'd experienced soju in a Japanese soju bar in Tokyo a few years before, but we couldn't get it in New York. We had to actually import it. One of the wonderful things that I learned were the traditions and histories behind this, in that there's a culture behind drinking it. If you're a young person, you can't drink until your elders invite you. Most importantly, it's a happy drink. You drink it with your friends on special occasions. Also, as the host, you never pour for yourself. You pour for everyone at the table, and then you put the bottle down and someone else will pour for you. You drink it chilled, you drink it over ice, and don't forget, it makes wonderful infusions.
Well, for more on how to enjoy soju, we turn to our spirit advisor.
All right, since sochu comes in all sorts of varieties, I need to know what the proof is on this before I drink it, and I did. I checked the bottle. That's what I'm telling you to do. And I checked it, and it's a 50 proof, so it's kind of right in between. I could be getting big, full-bodied, like 80 proof or so, or even higher sochus, big, powerful, pungent things. I could be getting something that's a lot softer. This one's right down the center. Another thing that's going on with this sochu is I can see from the color that it's spent a little time in oak. Take a whiff, and it does. It has a sandalwood, cinnamon, slight vanilla smell that shows it's had some time in oak. Now, some sochu, most sochu, no time in oak. Wouldn't have that smell. Instead, it would just be the pungent, hopefully grain smell of what this was made from. Now, I know it was made from barley, so I'm going to expect a cinnamon from that alone, but also what I get is something grassy. I mean, that's probably the best way to describe it, because this was made from barley. Some Sochu is going to be more pungent, sweeter smelling, almost candy smelling, almost like cherry candy or orange candy. This has a very light orange, cinnamon, lemon smell, because the way that barrel time has married up with the barley smell itself. I'm going to take 2 tastes because I need to make sure that I really taste what's going on here. But I have to say, the first flavor was very soft. And the second taste, just as soft. A light cinnamon toast sort of thing with a little bit of orange marmalade on top of it. That seems to be almost the flavor of this, and I think most Sochu would hope to be as pretty as this one.
Our master mixologist, Dale Degroff, joins us now for a lesson on how to make a Soju cocktail.
So we've talked about a lot of things Far Eastern. Let's go a little bit further and talk about Soju and Sochu. I have in front of me here Sochu, which is probably a little bit easier to find in Canada than Soju, but Soju was the original spirit from Korea. Soju in Korea was a spirit that was made from sweet potato, or made from barley, or made from tapioca. The 3 types of Sochu in Korea are really table beverages, and I went to a barbecue restaurant in Manhattan, Korean barbecue restaurant, where they serve these as a table beverage in 3 icy cold crockery containers, and it's served at the table without ice, but icy cold to begin with. The first one is plain, the second one has cucumber slices, the third one has lemon skins in it. And the way the meal unfolds is you begin with the plain one, with your appetizers. By the time you get to the really spicy meat dishes and the other spicy dishes coming down the road, and they eat in small portions over the course of a long time, some of it cooked right at your table, then these cooling Soju start to take on the flavor of the cucumber and the flavor of the lemon peel, and on the palate they're very cleansing and very cooling with all this spicy food, so it's a lovely way to eat. My buddy in London at Sochu, which is the Japanese version of Soju, they loved it so much they started making their own version, and this is a distilled rice spirit. The restaurant Sochu and Bar in London actually uses big crocks to infuse the Sochu with fruits and spices and herbs and all kinds of things. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to muddle, because I like to muddle, and I'm going to give some cucumber flavor to this Sochu by muddling the cucumber right in the spirit itself. This is an English cucumber. It's not the kind you use to make pickles out of. It's longer, it's narrower, and it's a really good salad ingredient, and it's really good for adding flavor to drinks. They use it a lot in Pim's Cup, as a matter of fact. It's a very famous garnish for Pim's Cup. Let's chill our glass. Let's get the third ingredient here into my cocktail, which is sake. I'm using Gakekian, widely available in this market. And I'm going to shake this to get even more cucumber flavor into the drink, and then I'll strain the seeds out. I'm going to cut a couple of thin slices of cucumber and slide them down the side of that glass with my garnish. Now, I would have this with maybe a Korean barbecue. I would have this with spicy, anything Japanese, Chinese. Absolutely. It'll be a very cooling, the cucumber will bring a really cooling feeling to the drink. It would be lovely. So here we go with our Nashino, named after the sake martini. Steve, Jennifer, let's slide this right down there. Lovely. Here's to you.
After the break, we'll head into the kitchen and show you some recipes so that you can cook with Soju. It's coming up when Spirit Basics returns. Welcome back to Spirit Basics. As you can see, we're in the kitchen again, and we're joined by our Spirit Chef, Chef Allan. Great to see you.
It's great to see you, Jennifer.
Now today we're talking about cooking with Soju. How different is that than, say, cooking with sake?
Well, soju, unlike sake, it has some rice in it, but unlike it's got some barley in it. So you might think, well, we're heading back maybe into whiskey territory, but we're not. When I taste a soju or sochu, what I get is a floral scent in my nose, and then I get a taste of flowers in my mouth, and almost like a high-end Asian vinegar. And so it really is complex. And like sake, there's a bunch of different ways they're made, so you can't say that this one tastes like all the rest, but it really adds an interesting bunch of flavors to your mix when you're cooking.
Now with the acidity, it seems like it would be a great one to pair with tomatoes, but I don't see tomatoes in this dish here.
No, well, you know, you have to realize though that tomatoes are a fruit. And so what we have in here on the bottom, we have a beautiful oat slaw or high-end Asian slaw. And we've got carrots and Napa cabbage, but we've also got some jicama and some papaya. So if you think about papayas and tomatoes as fruit, this actually enhances the acidity and the sweetness of the papayas. This is an absolutely delicious Asian taste.
Okay, well tell us more about this dish. I see that there's a little bit of chicken here.
Yeah, and again, we have some sochu chicken. And a classic Asian recipe, we've got some green onions, we've got some soy sauce, we've got some hot chili sauce, we've got some sochu. And again, you can smell that. You can smell the sochu coming off of that. It really gives you a whole different dimension than, let's say, using a flavored oil like sesame oil or perhaps an Asian vinegar or rice vinegar. This is a great thing to have in your pantry. It just gives you a little bit of complexity with your dishes.
So this is definitely an Asian style dish here. Are we strictly limited to Asian style of cooking when we're using soju?
Not at all. In fact, soju would be a good thing to have in your pantry as well to build a bridge to things like fusion dishes, where you take New World or North American or European dishes and you actually tweak them with Asian or other influenced spices or flavors. So I could see using soju with seafood. I could use it with chicken, as we've done here. It adds that really nice floral complexity.
So it's a great spirit to have in your cabinet, your pantry at home.
Can't go
Great.
wrong.
Well, if you'd like to try these dishes at home, all you have to do is log on to our website for the recipes. Over to you now, Stephen.
Thanks, Jen. Those are some fascinating recipes. Well, that's it for this edition of Spirit Basics. Interestingly enough, the first time we talk about a lower proof spirit, next week we're going to talk about overproof or high proof spirits. I'm Stephen Olson, and for Jennifer Allan and our entire team here at Spirit Basics, we'll see you next week. Kampai.
Special thanks to Willow Park Wine and Spirits, whose dedication to providing knowledge, awareness, and service to their customers has made this show possible.